We are live.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as you're able and join me in welcoming City Council and the playing of the national anthem and the reading of the invocation.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the May City Council meeting. Please remain standing as you're able as I read the invocation to begin tonight's meeting. As we come together, we recognize the great responsibilities that are laid upon us. Our council will always strive to understand the needs of the people we serve and to use power wisely and well. Our purpose is to establish and maintain a city of prosperity and righteousness where freedom prevails and where justice rules. We acknowledge the rich history of this land, which includes the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. Today there are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples who live or work in the city. The intent of this acknowledgement is to recognize our responsibility to use and take care of these lands responsibly and respectfully, while remembering the generations past and considering the generations yet to come. We respect and seek to continue and promote the long-standing relationships with the area's First Nations, the Six Nations of the Grand River, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and all of the Indigenous peoples who reside within the city of Brantford. Let us also not forget those who've served our community and who are no longer with us, so that we can continue to do the work that we must in their memory. Please be seated. Mr. Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Councillor Samwell,
Present.
Councillor Hunt,
Present.
Councillor Martin.
Here.
Councillor Caputo,
Present.
Councillor Sokoli,
Here.
Councillor Van Tilburg,
Here.
Councillor Carpenter,
Here.
Councillor Slutz,
Present.
Councillor McCurry,
Here.
Councillor Sullivan,
Present.
and Mayor Davis.
Here.
Through the chair, roll call's been taken.
Thank you. Is there any member that needs to declare pecuniary interest regarding any of the items we're discussing on tonight's agenda? Please physically raise your hand. Seeing no raised hands, we'll go into separation of items. So one item has already been separated to deal with a motion to defer. And also because we have delegations, that's 13.2.8, community mural in memory of loved ones lost to overdose. Are there any other items contained in the committee reports that members wish separated for discussion purposes? Seeing no raised hands, that means we just have one item that will be separated. Councillor Slutz, I understand you have the motion to approve the items that have not been separated.
So moved, Mr. Mayor. Seconded by my ward mate, Councillor Caputo.
Before we take the vote, Mr. Clerk, would you please read the title of the items that we're voting on?
Through the chair, the following items are subject to the vote from the Social Services Committee report, item 1311, 2024 annual update, Brantford Brand Housing Stability Plan, from the combined committee, the whole report, Item 13.2.1, 2024 Economic Year in Review. 13.2.2 Appeal Committee Implementation Plan. 13.2.3 Brantford Airport Board Report. 13.2.4 Wayne Gretzky Parkway Extension Environmental Assessment Preferred Alternative. 13.2.5 Brantford Immigration Partnership Annual Update. 13.2.6 Building Safer Communities Annual Update. 13.2.7 Brantford Competing in Communities in Bloom, Ontario. 13.2.9 General Parking Regulations from the Planning Report. 13.3.1 Zoning Bylaw Amendment Application PZ 03-25 85 to 99 Colborne Street West, and from the Code of Conduct Task Force Report 13.4 Code of Conduct Task Force Report. All items not separated for discussion purposes carries unanimously on a recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor: Councilors Sullivan, Celeste, McCreary, Hunt, Van Toborg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We're now doing something that we have to do once a year, and it has to do with the Brantford Local Housing Corporations. It's the annual general meeting for those two corporations. So there is quite a preamble here, so this will take a bit of time to get through it. So good evening and welcome to the Brantford Local Housing Corporation Annual General Meeting. The Brantford Local Housing Corporation was established by Articles of Incorporation on December the 14th, 2000, and is governed by the Ontario Business Corporations Act. Prior to 2001, housing in this area was governed by an Ontario Crown Corporation. As part of the devolution of authority to the municipal level under the Social Housing Reform Act, which has been replaced by the Housing Services Act, the province of Ontario created this local housing corporation. On May 9, 2001, a unanimous shareholder declaration was adopted, which declared that the business and affairs of the local housing corporation will be managed and supervised by the city through the Social Services Committee. Members of the Social Services Committee serve as board of directors of the local housing corporation, and the city of Brantford is the sole shareholder. The local housing corporation is a corporate entity that is subject to and must comply with the provisions of the Ontario Business Corporations Act. And one of those provisions is the requirement that the shareholders have an annual general meeting. That's what we're doing tonight. The Brantford Local Housing Corporation currently owns 13 properties, totaling 863 units in the city of Brantford and the county of Brant. These units were downloaded from the province of Ontario to the city of Brantford as a service manager in 2001. These are the oldest residential units, built approximately in the late 60s and 70s. So you can imagine there's a lot of work that goes into maintaining those units to make sure they are in a good state of repair for the citizens of the city of Brantford and the county of Brant. Management of that housing portfolio is provided through the Housing and Homelessness Services Department of the Community Services and Social Development Commission. The portfolio consists of high-rise and low-rise apartment buildings, townhouses, and detached homes. We are currently selling off the detached houses upon tenant vacancy in order to facilitate the creation of additional higher density units. There are over 2,600 residents in these units that are owned by the corporation, and they're made up of households of families with children, singles and couples without dependents, and seniors who call these buildings home. Those households pay rent geared to income, which is approximately 30% of their gross monthly household disposable income. Social assistance recipients pay rent based on social assistance rent scales. Housing and Homelessness Services staff provides day-to-day property management, rent collection, building maintenance, lease enforcement, and capital asset management functions. Tenants living in these units have a range of housing stability support requirements that may include eviction prevention services, mediation and problem solving in order to remain successfully housed. So, Councillor Samuel, can you please move item 6 and state your seconder?
moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Van Silberg, that the board report 2025 annual general meeting of the Brant and Brantford Local Housing Corporation be received, and that the unaudited financial statements of the Brant and Brantford Local Housing Corporation as of December 31st, 2024 be adopted, that the financial records of the Brantford Local Housing Corporation LHC continue to form part of the city's overall external audit in lieu of the LHC's own external audit, and that the corporation that the corporation of the city of Brantford as sole shareholder of the Brant and Brantford Local Housing Corporation consents to the exemption from the required to appoint an auditor for the financial year of the corporation ending December 31st, 2025, pursuant to Section 148 of the Business Corporation Act, Ontario, and that the following persons be appointed to the Brant and Brantford Local Housing Corporation Board of Directors for the term to expire at the close of the next annual general meeting. City Mayor Davis, City Councillor Rose Sicoli, City Councillor Sluss, City Councillor McCreary, City Councillor Carpenter, City Councillor Samwell, County Mayor Bailey, County Councillor Oakley, County Councillor Bell, County Councillor Miller, County Councillor Howes, and County Councillor Gounod, that the following incumbents have been appointed as officers of the Brantford Brant Local Housing Corporation by the directors be ratified in the respective positions listed. President, City Mayor, Vice President, Chair of the Social Services Committee, Vice Chair of the Social Services Committee. No, I apologize. Vice President, Chair of the Social Service Committee, Treasurer and Banking Signing Officer, City Treasurer, Secretary, City Clerk or Designate, Signing Officers, President and Treasurer, and that the shareholders approve the minutes of 2024 Annual General Meeting as recorded at the meeting of Brantford City Council on May 28th, 2024.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the vote.
Item 6.1 carries unanimously on recorded votes. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councillors Sullivan, Sluss, McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samwell, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sicoli, and Mayor Davis.
So there are no statutory public hearings on tonight's agenda, but we do have some recognitions of achievement that we'll be presenting tonight. We have quite a number of them, and we do have a process for presenting these recognitions of achievement, which will now begin. But before we get into the actual awards and recognitions, a bit of an explanation what it is that we're recognizing and what is behind what we're doing tonight. So I'd like to thank all of you, because I know we have a number of guests present tonight in the audience, for joining us in recognizing and celebrating National Accessibility Week. It's a time when we proudly celebrate the contributions of people with disabilities and highlight the importance of removing barriers in our city to create a truly inclusive community. Before we present this year's City Accessibility Awards to the deserving honorees, I want to invite you to watch a short video produced by city staff to enlighten people in our community about the challenges that people with disabilities face and the tools the city has put in place to assist in reducing and eliminating those barriers as much as possible. I strongly believe that understanding the challenges faced by our fellow citizens with disabilities is a key to creating effective solutions. That's why along with three of our dedicated city councillors, Councillor Rose Sicoli, Councillor Mandy Samwell, and Councillor Linda Hunt, we all participated in an eye-opening series of simulations where we put ourselves in the shoes of someone experiencing a disability. These exercises allowed us to experience firsthand the daily obstacles that many of our fellow residents encounter. This video captures our experience, our learnings, and most importantly, our commitment to action. From improving infrastructure to enhancing public services, We're determined to ensure that every resident can navigate and enjoy our city without facing obstacles. And in this day in the life, understanding accessibility in our city video, we'll take a closer look at how we can work together to build a Brantford where everyone can participate fully. So we'll have the video now. It takes a few seconds to get it up and running.
We asked Brantford city officials to participate in simulations designed to replicate an experience of a person with a disability in order to deepen their understanding of the importance of providing accessible services.
Hi, I'm Jenny Suicki. I'm the city's accessibility coordinator. The accessibility coordinator for the city is in charge of making everything accessible for all constituents and visitors to the city of Brantford. We work on city facilities, events, customer service, and communications to ensure that everything is accessible for a range of disabilities within the city of Brantford.
So with the list of headings, if you've been
Karen McCall, an accessible document design consultant and educator, is showing the City of Brantford's Ward 1 councillor, Rose Sicoli, how to use a screen reader, which converts digital text into synthesized speech to help people with visual and other disabilities.
I'm a Canadian delegate to the ISO International Standards Organization that creates the standards for PDF and accessible PDF. So as well as educating people on how to create more accessible digital content, I'm also helping shape the standards and the direction of digital accessibility.
This whole thing was very challenging to me, navigating through the various titles and how important those titles and those subheadings are to a document. I had no idea. I never would have thought twice about that if I were writing something. Being able to experience that just puts everything into a different perspective. What I know now, I think it's a question that we'll ask when we're saying, let's put this notice out. Okay, well, let's make sure we're looking at it through the appropriate lens now and making sure that we're supporting our accessibility department to be able to do everything that they need to do so that the public can have access to all of the information without any restriction.
Our Accessibility Advisory Committee is primarily made up of persons with disabilities or representative of disability service organizations. So I think it's important to have that experience around the table. Those decisions are being made with the accessibility lens of persons with lived experience, not someone who, has maybe read a design manual and thinks that they know exactly how something can be done.
Brantford's Ward 5 councillor Mandy Samwell is simulating an experience of a person with a hearing disability interacting with a customer service representative.
I don't feel like I faced any challenges today, but I could see how there could be challenges if it wasn't handled the way that it was today. But because there was a device for me able to help me hear better, that was fantastic. And then there was also the option to write things down, so I think that those were both very helpful. It made me feel empathetic for other folks that have hearing loss and concerns and disabilities, but I also felt that it made me feel very grateful of the staff that we have here at the City of Brantford and how well that went.
From the standpoint of the retrofit to City Hall, but the overall design was really designed with universal accessibility in mind.
We've made sure there is space for maneuverability and approach to main amenities such as service counters, push buttons, controls, and things like that. We have considered acoustics in meeting rooms, as well as we have assisted listening devices available. We also have a portable listening device that can be moved to any room. We have universal washrooms, which have adult change tables, as well as appropriate space for any support persons who may need to assist. We've considered color contrast and braille and signages, wayfinding signage, and of course, training for our staff.
The City of Brantford's Mayor Kevin Davis has put on some low vision simulator goggles and will be navigating a crosswalk in downtown Brantford. Brian Gall, an orientation and mobility instructor at W. Ross McDonald School in Brantford, and one of his students, are providing instruction to the mayor for this simulated experience.
When you're forced to move away from the sense of sight and rely on touch and sound, I realized how dependent you are on something like a crosswalk signal and making sure it's functioning properly. You have to listen for certain sounds and cues that are built into the system. The raised, knobbly surfaces you see at intersections, understanding how important that is when you're using a cane, because that tells you you've finished crossing the street. You have to consider the interests of everyone who's using the downtown when you're doing something like as simple as designing a street.
Nathan is a person who uses an augmentative communication device. He's visiting the Wayne Gretzky Sports Center with his support worker to learn more about their drop-in swim program.
Hi there, how can I help you today?
Hello, what time does the drop-in for swimming?
Dylan sets an example of inclusive service. Dylan makes eye contact, speaks directly to Nathan instead of his support worker, and gives him the time he needs to communicate.
How much is it for me to go and my worker?
By treating Nathan with respect and patience, Dylan showed how small actions can make a big difference and make city facilities more welcoming for everyone.
All of our swim schedules laid out. You're welcome, have a nice day.
The city is doing a great job in providing training to staff.
I would encourage policymakers to go through this practice and really experience hands-on what it's like to try to navigate the various systems with a disability of some sort. And I would encourage all organizations in the private sector as well to maybe explore what this looks like so that they are able to offer their services unencumbered within the city.
I think the insights that are gained through this project will allow us to better understand what people are facing in our community.
Just taking a minute out of your daily life to experience what life is like for someone who doesn't have the same set of senses as you do. It helps you to be more understanding.
Certainly involving our residents who have disabilities and soliciting feedback. And if we don't get something right, recognizing that we maybe need to look at things differently.
The main point of accessibility and the hugest benefit is full participation by everybody in our community. Everybody should feel included and important in what they do in their everyday living.
Brantford.ca/accessibility. We welcome your accessibility feedback at accessibility@brantford.ca.
Yes, that was an eye-opening experience for all of us that participated in it. We learned a great deal. So it's now our pleasure to present the 2005 City of Brantford Accessibility Awards. The city is very pleased to shine a spotlight on individuals and organizations that meet or exceed the legislated standards of the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act for both existing and renovated structures, as well as programs and services in our city that provide a barrier-free experience. This award program recognizes and congratulates organizations within our community that have shown a commitment to providing excellent accessibility initiatives that accommodate people with disabilities. And so joining me today to present the 2005 City of Brantford Accessibility Awards is Chair of the Brantford Accessibility Advisory Committee, Colleen Gruppel, and Ward 4 Councillor and member of the same committee, Linda Hunt. So Councillor Hunt and I will now go down towards the delegation desk, and we'll ask Colleen as well if you can come up and join us right in front of the desk. We're gonna give you the mic. Over to you.
Thank you, Mayor Davis. Our first award in the built environment category, which recognizes improvements that eliminate physical barriers and provide equal access for people of all abilities. One of this year's recipients is Harmony United Church, a community hub that has gone above and beyond to make the facility more accessible. Recognizing that physical barriers once limited participation, the church added an accessible washroom and built a ramp to connect the sanctuary with the social hall. These thoughtful upgrades have enabled people with mobility challenges to fully participate in everything from worship, services, to cultural festivals. Harmony United Church has shown what it means to build not only a facility, but a community that welcomes everyone. Accepting the award tonight on behalf of Harmony United Church is Betty Vipon and Gail Simpson. Please join us in congratulating Harmony United Church.
Nice and close. There you go.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go.
Here? You?
Well, I can come here. Here, let me come up. And congratulations to Harmony United Church. Our next recipient, also in the built environment category, is someone who understands that accessibility in healthcare is about providing effective treatment while also ensuring the clinic is accessible and comfortable for all patients. Greg Wilson, owner of William Street Eye Care, has led important upgrades to his optometry clinic to better serve patients with disabilities. In 2024, the clinic introduced a fully accessible examination lane, allowing patients who use wheelchairs to receive comprehensive eye exams. Upgrades to the elevator and overall building access ensure patients can visit the clinic with dignity and independence. The integration of accessible door openers, ramps, and an upgraded elevator ensures that individuals with disabilities have an equal opportunity to obtain essential optometry services. Greg's commitment to inclusive healthcare is an example of how professional practices can create welcoming barrier-free spaces. Congratulations, Greg. The information and communication category celebrates individuals who raise awareness advocate for change, and help build a culture of inclusion through education and outreach. This year's recipient, Andrew Nielsen, has been a tireless advocate for accessibility, raising over $165,000 for Easter Seals Ontario and championing improvements to housing and venues across Ontario, funding essential mobility and accessibility equipment for children with disabilities. Andrew's advocacy extends beyond fundraising. He has directly influenced accessibility improvements in housing by securing funding for Stedman Hospice, a supportive living space for individuals with disabilities. Andrew has also worked with professional sports teams, including the Toronto Maple Leafs, Hamilton Tiger Cats, and the Toronto Blue Jays, to address accessibility barriers in their venues. Through his speeches, social media presence, and participation in high-profile fundraising events like the Drop Zone Rappel Challenge, he continues to educate the public and challenge societal perceptions of disability. Through his advocacy and leadership, Andrew has made a profound and lasting impact on the Brantford community, making him a deserving recipient of this award. Please join me in honoring Andrew Nielsen.
Thank you very much for this award. It means so much to me to be recognized by my hometown for my efforts to help kids with physical disabilities to lead safer, fuller, and healthier lives. This summer I'm going to rappel 17 stories down a building in my wheelchair to help these kids get the equipment, supplies, and support they need. If you'd like to learn more or to sponsor me, please see me after the ceremony. Thank you.
Well, we will definitely be seeing you after the ceremony. Thank you very much, Andrew. Yep.
I brought my wallet. We will be taking a short break so that we can all come down, council members, and congratulate the award recipients, but we still have a couple of more awards to give out. So in addition to our formal award recipients this year, we've also received several nominations recognizing the outstanding efforts of City of Brantford staff in advancing accessibility for setting an exemplary standard for both their colleagues and the broader community. Tonight, we'd like to recognize them as well, beginning with Christian Bean, a City of Brantford staff member whose dedication to accessibility behind the scenes has made a very significant difference. Come on up, Christian. Christian has played a key role in reviewing and improving internal documents and project designs to ensure that they meet all AODA standards. His attention to detail and his commitment to creating inclusive spaces is helping shape a more accessible future for all. His meticulous review and implementation of accessibility improvements have not only elevated the readability and usability of critical documents, but have also influenced the way infrastructure projects are designed and constructed. Through his dedicated and innovative approach, Christian has played a key role in fostering a more inclusive and accessible environment for all, and we extend our sincere appreciation for his invaluable contributions. Thank you, Christian. Thanks again, Christian. Today, we also want to acknowledge another staff member, Spencer Moore, whose passion for inclusion has touched the lives of many in our community. Through his work at the Wayne Gretzky Sports Center, his mentorship and his commitment to adaptive fitness programs and advocacy, Spencer has helped remove barriers and build bridges. Whether through mentoring a student with vision loss through his personal training diploma, his advocacy for accessibility improvements at local recreation facilities, or participating in fundraising for health-related causes, Spencer has consistently gone above and beyond. His ability to connect with others, lead by example, and inspire meaningful change is a testament to his dedication to accessibility and inclusion. Though he is not eligible for a specific award, we proudly acknowledge his outstanding contributions and thank him for making Brantford a more welcoming and accessible community for all. Thank you, Spencer. Wow. And it's got one killer of an iron handshake, I'll tell you. So we also have a third one. And it's kind of to a department, but we have a representative of the department. And finally, we want to extend our appreciation to the City of Brantford Traffic Services Department, led by Director of Operational Services, Mark Jacklin. Over the past several years, the department has implemented numerous initiatives that significantly improve pedestrian access and mobility for individuals with disabilities. And I'm sure you've seen them all across the city. That includes 75 pedestrian crossovers, 100 accessible pedestrian signal buttons, and I understand from my own experience how important those buttons and noises are, and 119 pedestrian countdown timers, all of which have an objective of and do create a safer and more accessible environment. Additional adjustments, pedestrian walk times, the introduction of a no right turn on red policies at 11 intersections, and lead pedestrian intervals at 7 intersections. That's where the walk sign comes on first before the traffic
green traffic light, demonstrate our commitment at the city and our staff's commitment to reducing collisions and improving pedestrian safety, particularly for vulnerable road users. And as I experienced myself, as you saw in the Day in the Life of video, the traffic department's dedication to creating safe, accessible streets helps everyone move through our city with greater ease and confidence. So thank you to the entire traffic services team as represented by Mark Jacqueline. Well, Linda, that looks like that's it for us. So, but we wanted to thank Linda. I wanted to thank, and of course, the Council of the Corporation for all of you, for your leadership, your innovation, and your commitment to accessibility. And together you've helped create a Brantford where everyone can thrive. So please join us in a final round of applause for all of our award recipients. Now, that's not all. We now have some environmental awards to hand out, and we're going to call down Councillor Samwell to do that for us. Come on down, Councillor Samwell.
Since 2013, the Environmental and Sustainability Policy and Advisory Committee has annually advertised, reviewed, and recommended recipients of the Green Environmental Recognition Awards, which have been presented annually at City Council meetings around Earth Day. The award recognize individuals, families, businesses, and organizations in the City of Brantford who have demonstrated leadership in projects that result in measurable improvements in preservation, conservation, sustainability, education, advocacy, green infrastructure, or environmental cleanups and restorations. For 2025, we have 3 award winners being presented with awards. The first Environmental Recognition Award is being presented to an individual who has been volunteering with BL's Little Free Pantries for 4 years and demonstrates time and commitment to waste reduction initiatives. The award recipient volunteers their time to go to stores, pick up food, toys, and clothes, and more that would otherwise have gone to the landfill, and sort all of the items into the free pantries for the community to use. This volunteer goes above and beyond to ensure BL's Little Free Pantries are operated in a way not to leave a negative impact on our environment. It is my honor to present the Green Environmental Recognition Award for Environmental Volunteer to Daniel Astley. Congratulations, Daniel.
I'd like to also special thank my fellow volunteers, Benita Safi and Tiffany Nelson. Tiffany Nelson every week comes over to our giveaways and helps us with recycling of our cardboard. Benita, she comes to every volunteer opportunity. She sorts the food, she helps with the compost initiatives, and she is helping with our health and safety as well. And I'd also like to bring up Andrew Leader, who goes to every grocery store between here and Caledonia and collects food that would otherwise go into landfills. So you 3, please come up here.
The second Environmental Recognition Award is being presented to an individual who inspires youth to volunteer to help change the world. This award recipient demonstrates environmental commitment and helping her community by setting up free pantries around the community where those who in need can come for free food, clothes, toys, and books. By providing a hub of needed items for free, this individual helps reduce waste from being sent to the landfill and demonstrates the importance of a circular economy. It is my honor to present the Green Environmental Recognition Award for Young Environmental Champion, secondary age, to Brianna Leader. Congratulations, Brianna. The third Environmental Recognition Award is being presented to a family who shows outstanding achievement in reducing its environmental footprint. This family has implemented several measures around their home to reduce energy and water use and reduce the amount of waste being sent to the landfill, such as prioritizing energy efficient appliances, using energy and water meters, prioritizing reusable items, participating in the Green Bin program, and reusing and donating unwanted items. They encourage others to live a sustainable lifestyle and reduce the environmental footprint by raising awareness and communicating sustainable practices that can be incorporated in their households. It is my honor to present the Green Environmental Recognition Award for the greenest family to the Ramaya family. Congratulations, Ramaya family.
Thank you very much, Councillor Samuel, for doing that. So we're now going to take about a 10-minute break so members of council can come down and recognize and personally acknowledge all of the recipients. I know some of you are here to speak to another matter on the agenda tonight, and we'll get to that right after the break. So for the viewers at home, a 10-minute break before we come back on camera. Okay, we're going to reconvene in about 15 seconds. Okay, calling the meeting back to order. We'll move into proclamations. And I believe there are 4 proclamations on tonight's agenda. Councillor Sikoli, I think you've got that motion.
I do, moved by myself, seconded by my ward mate, Councillor Sullivan, that the following proclamations be approved. 9.1 Brantford Pride Month, June 2025. 9.2 Building Safety Month, May 2025, and recognition of 50 years of the Ontario Building Code. 9.3 will be National Indigenous Heritage Month, June 2025. 9.4 will be Seniors Month, June 2025. I'm assuming you want me to go right into Pride Month.
Please.
9.1 Brantford Pride Month, June. Whereas June 1st is the kickoff day for the month of Brantford Pride 2025. And whereas it's in its 15th year, the Bridge and Brantford Pride Committee invites all individuals to join together to make our local community a diverse, safe, and proud city. And whereas inclusiveness is embraced by the community to support the physical, mental, spiritual, and social well-being of all its members, including the two-spirited, lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and queer community. And whereas there is a need to recognize that the community is made up of many diverse and unique groups, and that equality means a better life for all. And whereas the two-spirited, lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and queer community would like to annually celebrate Brantford Pride Month as they and their allies strive to create a healthy and safe environment now and in the future. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the City of Brantford hereby proclaims the month of June as Brantford Pride 2025.
Thank you, Councillor Sikoli. We'll now go to Councillor Martin, if you could read proclamation 9.2.
Thank you. 9.2 Building Safety Month. I move, seconded by Councillor McCurry. Whereas May is Building Safety Month, time to raise awareness about how building safety helps protect people, homes, and our communities. And whereas 2025 marks the 50th anniversary of the Ontario Building Code, which sets the rules for how buildings are designed, built, and maintained across Ontario. And whereas the Ontario Building Code was first introduced in 1975 to make sure all construction across the province followed the same high safety standards. And whereas over the past 50 years, the code has changed to include important updates like better fire protection, accessibility for all, and strong energy saving rules. And whereas the role of building officials has also grown, these trained professionals make sure to construction follows the code, keeping our buildings safe and helping our communities grow. And whereas this year's theme, Safety for All, Codes in Action, celebrates the work of those who keep our buildings safe and the importance of building careers in safety, especially as Ontario plans to build 1.5 million new homes by 2031. And whereas the newest version of the Ontario Building Code includes over 2,000 updates showing Ontario's ongoing commitment to safety and innovation. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the City of Brantford do hereby proclaim the month of May 2025 as Building Safety Month and officially recognizes the 50th anniversary of the Ontario Building Code. We encourage all residents to learn about the importance of building safety.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. We'll now go to Councillor Samwell to read proclamation 9.3.
Thank you. National Indigenous History Month. Whereas Brantford is culturally diverse and is home to many people and communities, and whereas Indigenous peoples and communities have been fundamental to the history of the places known today as Brantford and Canada for the time immemorial, and whereas Brantford is home to important Indigenous-led spaces of cultural preservation and education, including the Woodland Cultural Center, located at the site of the former Mohawk Institute Residential School, one of Canada's earliest and longest operating residential institutions. whereas the city of Brantford is committed to upholding peace, friendship, and mutual respect through continuing to strive for goals outlined by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada. And whereas the histories of the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Neutral Nations and many other First Nations, Métis, and Inuit communities who call this place home remind us of the ways that Indigenous people have greatly contributed to the cultural, economic, political, and social development of the city of Brantford. And whereas the city of Brantford wishes to join with all citizens in honoring the rich history of the Indigenous individuals, Indigenous-led businesses, organizations, groups, and communities in Brantford, and whereas the city of Brantford recognizes the past, present, and future contributions of Indigenous communities, and now therefore be resolved, the Council of the Corporation of the City of Brantford hereby proclaims the month of June 2025 Indigenous History Month. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Samuel. And we'll now go to Councillor Caputo to read the final proclamation 9.4.
Thank you. 9.4 Seniors Month, June 2025. Whereas June is Seniors Month in the province of Ontario, and whereas age-friendly community planning was adopted as a fundamental strategic action to ensure a high quality of life for all citizens, and whereas social inclusion, social participation, and civic engagement were identified as priorities in healthy aging, the City of Brantford's age-friendly strategy. And whereas the City of Brantford and community partners celebrate Seniors Month by launching the Healthy Aging Passport, offering free activities aimed at increasing social participation, promoting health and wellness, and highlighting new and existing programs and activities for older adults within the City of Brantford. And whereas Sunday, June 1st, 2025, as Intergenerational Day, Sunday, June 15th, 2025 is World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, and the month of June is Seniors Month in Ontario. And whereas the City of Brantford continues to work collaboratively with all number of community partners, including the Grand River Council of Aging, Canadian Association of Retired Persons, Brant Elder Abuse Awareness Committee. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the City of Brantford proclaim June as Seniors Month and celebrate strong community partnerships that support the City of Brantford as an age-friendly community.
Thank you. Now call the vote on proclamations.
The approval of all proclamations carries unanimously on a recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor: Councillors Sullivan, Celeste, McCreary, Hunt, and Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
We'll now move into presentations, delegations, and we do have 4 registered delegations this evening. Prior to hearing the delegations, I, as we always do, remind those in the meeting of the following rules of decorum that are set out in the city's procedural bylaw. And they are: 1, that no person shall display any sign, banner, placard in the meeting room other than materials that, in the opinion of the meeting chair, are necessary in connection with the presentation. All persons present shall use polite and respectful language and shall refrain from the use of any language or the making of any gesture that is disrespectful or offensive. All persons addressing council shall speak only on the subject that's in debate and shall not speak on any subject. No person shall applaud participants in debate or engage in conversation or behavior that may disrupt the proceedings of the meeting. So we'll move into, as I said, we have 4 presenters tonight, and I believe the first person that's coming up to speak to us is Krista Cabral. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name properly. Krista, if you would mind coming up, and you can come up to one of the microphones here. And if you push one of the buttons, you'll see the red light come on. There you go. So you have 10 minutes to make your presentation inclusive of any questions. Floor is yours, Krista.
Hello, my name is Krista Cabral. I lost my daughter, Brittany Silvestri, to fentanyl poisoning on September 6, 2023 in Brantford. Brittany left behind a 21-month-old daughter. My husband and I have now legally adopted Hazel, whom is now 3.5. Since losing our daughter, I have learned a lot about addiction and mental health. I have learned that naloxone is temporary and only lasts from 20 minutes to 2 hours, depending on the drugs in your system. I have learned that medical attention is a must once naloxone has been administered to prevent an overdose from reoccurring once it wears off. I have learned that naloxone does not reverse the overdose if other drugs have been mixed with fentanyl, such as bromaloxone, as in my daughter's case. Addiction and mental health not only affects and destroys families, it also affects the whole community. I believe our youth need to be educated on the dangers of drugs and alcohol before they reach high school, before peer pressure controls their choices and decisions. I believe an overdose memorial wall is needed in our community to honor the lives lost to substance abuse, to reduce stigma and to create space for healing. It serves as a powerful reminder on the human impact of addiction and encourages awareness, compassion, and support for prevention and recovery efforts. Since the loss of Brittany, I have met so many other families who have lost a child, sister, brother, cousin, or friend to fentanyl overdose right here in Brantford. I would like to see our wall painted on the side of the RAM clinic. I know now that that's not an option. Perhaps if there are concerns from the community members about their taxes covering the wall, we could ask that each family member pay a fee to have their loved one's name added. I have several families very interested in adding their child. Brittany Silvestri, forever 33. Corey Liverance, forever 30. Brody Walsh, forever 28. Dylan Robbins, forever 28. John Belhazy, forever 38. Christopher Reed, forever 35. Roland Antone, forever 28. Jason McDonald, forever 51. Sam Monteith, forever 32. Aaron Denola, forever 32. And Chantel Byrne, forever 27. According to the Grand Erie Public Health, Brant County alone has lost 57 suspected drug-related deaths in 2024. That is 57 families that don't have their loved one to hug, share a birthday wish, or just say goodnight to anymore. And that is a long time. Please consider the importance of this wall, not only to memorialize loved ones, but to raise awareness for our future impressionable little lives. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris, for that. I know that was very difficult. We appreciate you coming, and we may have some questions for you.
Sure.
All right, so we'll see. Any questions for Krista? No? Oh, Councillor Sicoli.
Hi, Krista.
Hi, Rose.
We talked about a mural at first, but the conversation went to a different type of memorial. Can you just share with this committee or with this council, another type of memorial that you had seen in Sault Ste. Marie?
Absolutely. I have a picture here. It's the same wall, but in a smaller version, and it's not on a wall, it's more on a stand, and it can be removable. It can be moved, it can be taken down, it can be added to. And I know there's in the end of August, there's an overdose awareness day here in Brantford. I attended last year, and we were thinking that perhaps on that day every year, we could have new names gathered and added to the wall annually.
Thank you for your advocacy work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Krista. We'll be dealing with this item early in the agenda after delegations are finished.
Thank
Once
you.
again, thank you for coming forward.
Thank you.
So I'll call upon the second registered delegate or presenter, Mandy Patton. Mandy, you going to come forward? Yeah, you can use that one. Just make sure you push one of the buttons so that red light comes on. There we go.
Hi, my name's Mandy Patton.
Can you turn the microphone up towards you? There,
Like that?
great. That's good. Thanks.
I'm Mandy Patton. My son, Roland, passed away December the 9th of a fentanyl overdose. I'm here to, we want a wall, whether it's on a wall, whether it's a stand, you know, for my family. My special handicapped sister, you know, just doesn't go to a graveyard. She could go to the sign, you know, have her thoughts or whatnot, and to help educate others, you know, that this is a crisis in our town. You know, we are losing loved ones. Yeah,
Just hang,
Thanks.
Mandy, you can appreciate just how, oh, Mandy can, You're doing fine under the most trying of circumstances, and we truly appreciate it. I'll just see if any members of council might have a question for you. Just let me check. No, I think we don't have any questions. Thank you, Mandy, for coming forward. So now move on to, we have a third request to delegate to this, Nancy Dredge. If you'd like to come up, please, Nancy. Oh, you need the red button. There you go.
Good evening, council members and mayor. I am a mom to an angel. My son Samuel Monteith passed away February 21st to 23rd. We're not exactly sure, and I'll explain why. I last heard from him the night of the 21st. He went missing and was found on the morning of the 23rd. His girlfriend found him frozen on Park Road in an empty excavator in the old Hungarian parking lot here in Brantford. My son was one of the best concrete finishers, as I've been told. A father of two beautiful boys, now fatherless. A caring and loving son, Sam would do anything for anyone, especially those in need. Sam lived in Brantford for the last months of his life. If he wasn't living at his girlfriend's home, he was in shelters, on the street, motels, detox centers, or rehab here in the city. This doesn't paint a pretty picture, does it? Sam became addicted to fentanyl and tried to break the addiction. But the addiction was stronger than him. Sam wasn't one to take pills when he was sick. He didn't believe in putting this type of medicine into his body. He was on the waiting list to get into government treatment centers for drug addictions. Waiting lists, waiting lists. He tried to see psychologists, waiting lists. I left my life and gave it to Sam to help him find his way back to a healthy, happy life. $40,000 later, I was unsuccessful. Sam could not do this on his own, and I alone wasn't his cure. The system failed Sam. I tried to admit him into a treatment center through the courts. I had no right as a mother. There is no rock bottom to fentanyl. I called Woodstock General Hospital for suicide help. They had a team waiting for Sam and myself, but within an hour, he was released. 2 months later, I believe he took his life by overdosing. Sam had had numerous prior overdoses, but he was always with someone else when using. This time, he knew there was a bad batch and took the fentanyl by himself. We all have our own stories, but we all have the same final ending. I have created a charity to help individuals find freedom from their addiction and help families cope with a child living a life of drug addiction. I am trying to do my part to save a life. You see, this honor memory wall is honoring the lives of our loved ones who fought their own war and lost against addiction. The government has failed a lot of these individuals, and we are asking you, as councillor and mayor, to take precedence and help us financially with the mural to honor our loved ones. I realize you have no idea the importance that this represents to each family, but I'm asking you to trust us. We have been financially drained, mentally and emotionally broken. This memory wall not only represents the lives lost in Brantford from addiction, but also spreads awareness to those people who have no idea how many lives are being lost or affected by addiction. We need to educate our children regarding the use and consequences of drug use. Addiction has no boundaries on sex, color, religion, wealth. Addiction is a disease. Some of us have no place to visit our loved ones whose life was taken too early from drug addiction. This memory honor wall will give us an actual memorial location, a place to go and have peace, a physical place to go and remember and talk to them. Seeing their name on the wall shows us that someone cares. It is important to help other families save the life of their child so they are not living the lives we are now. We ask for a place of dignity for our loved one. Let the city of Brantford set an example to other communities that they stand behind the families of those that lost a loved one to addiction. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Nancy. And again, thank you very much for coming forward and telling us your story.
Thank you.
Condolences, very painful. Any questions for Nancy? Thank you very much, Nancy. We'll be dealing with it shortly. So our last delegate or presenter is Deborah McDonald. Just there, now we can.
Okay. So I'm going to start by saying that my son's name was Brody Walsh, and he died at the age of 28. He took his own life with fentanyl that he obtained in Brantford, and went to a hotel room and took it. In the year that my son died, there was 57 opioid-related deaths in Brantford. It was the highest number of deaths until 2024, I believe, which had 66. Over the years since 2018 that they've been tracking them, it just keeps going up. We had 1 year where we had a decrease of 2 opioid-related deaths. There's, what I counted is over 300 in the last 6 years of community members that have passed away from opioid deaths. So they're definitely, and the median for Ontario is actually less. It's 23.59 for the province, where it's 37.61 for Brant County. The reason I bring that up is because I feel it's really important that we have a center or a memorial that says this is the people we've lost, and a way to take children there and show them what can happen should you do drugs, educate them that way, and also give the community, like the other lady said, a place to go and honor their lost children and their lost family members. When my son took his death, he took it because he could not handle this world. My son had high functioning Asperger's, and it wasn't enough of brain power to keep his life together. So life became very difficult. He was very afraid that he was going to end up homeless. And so that's why he took his own life. But everybody has a different story. And the one that goes with my son's mental health issues was that when I reached out to help many times through trying to get him mental health help, I was told that it was 6 months to even get him into any kind of health treatment plan. And he overdosed 3 times trying to take his own life. So the last time was 7 weeks before he died. And they told me 6 months, and I said, well, he'll be gone in 6 months. So the other reason that it's important to bring awareness to fentanyl is because we need health changes in this community, and we need better access to mental health for our citizens. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deborah. Just we may have a couple of questions. Councilman Tilburg.
Yeah, I'm sorry what you went through.
Thank you.
If I could just get your opinion on what you might consider a priority in what I consider to be an epidemic. Do you believe that there should be more access to facilities that have long-term care for people? In other words, or the in and out services where they're treated but then back out into the open. What do you believe has to be done from your perspective, if you so wish to answer?
Well, from my perspective, I think that the problem is when you have an in and out program, it's really easy for addicts to start reusing again, because they go in, they get a little bit of help, but it's not enough. It's not enough to really solve the problem, right? So you end up with them going back and forth between different homes and everywhere they go, because these are adults and they're not functioning in society. They're not able to hold down a job because they're doing drugs, right? In my son's case, he didn't do drugs in between his overdoses. He went to jail, and he came right out of jail and tried to overdose within 36 hours. the second time. So he didn't have the addiction issue, but he had a mental health problem. And I really believe that, you know, if he had been diagnosed properly with his Asperger's symptoms and he had been given a long-term treatment plan when he left the correction system, that he might still be alive today. So my answer is long-term care is definitely needed, and shorter waiting times, which is the story of Canada right now, is definitely needed.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Scully.
Last question. Thanks for coming, Deborah.
Thank you.
There are some individuals out there in the world who might say that putting up a memorial of some type is glorifying drug use. But I'm hoping that what people are seeing tonight is that this wall is not so much for those that we've lost, but for the families that are left behind, and giving them a place where they can reflect. And hopefully we can break down the stigma of mental health concerns and drug use. What are your thoughts on that?
I 100% agree. The way that I feel about the memorial wall is that it doesn't really matter whether a family is rich or poor or in between. It doesn't matter what color, race, creed you are. Addiction affects people of all different statures in life, right? And, you know, I've heard comments said like, oh, there was a home in the States where 3 people died in the same house of a fentanyl overdose. And the comments online were, well, that's just 3 less junkies on the street. But those people came from families that loved them, that really loved them. And some of those families tried for years and years, the child's whole life, like myself, to deal with the mental health issues. So he was misdiagnosed with ADHD. So my answer is that we need this wall to remind people that we come from the people that have died. They're not just people living on the streets. They're people that came from loving families that had mental health issues that couldn't deal with them, you know, and take that stigma away. And it's not glorifying drug use. It's honoring the families, like you said, because we all tried to save our kids. I don't think there's a person in this room that didn't try to save the child. So, thank you.
Okay, I thank Deborah that, thank you very much for making your presentation.
Thank you so much, council members and Mr. Mayor, for listening to our presentation. It's very much appreciated, and we hope you really consider what we're asking for.
Thanks again, Deborah. Yeah, I'd like to say to all 4 of you, Krista, Mandy, Nancy, and Deborah, thank you for coming and talking to us about something that I can't imagine is more painful to talk about than losing a child in those circumstances. And it was very meaningful, very impactful. And it's important we make decisions like this, that we have input from people, especially family members who have had a member of their family go through this, and your experience in dealing with this situation. So thank you very much. And we're going to deal with that issue in a minute. But first, we're going to go to communications, and I believe Councillor Carpenter, you have the motion to receive the clerk's report communication.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's moved by myself, a second by my ward mate, Councillor Linda Hunt, that the clerk's report on communication for May 2025 be received.
Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the vote.
The clerk's report on communication carries unanimously on recorded votes of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councillors Sullivan, Sluss, McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sicoli, and Mayor Davis.
Okay, we'll deal with the clerks. No, we'll deal with minutes. Councillor McCreary, you have the motion to adopt the minutes listed in the agenda.
You are correct, Mayor. I have, and Councillor Martin will be the seconder. The following minutes be adopted. 12.1 City Council of April 29, 2025.
Seeing no additions or corrections or requests for that, I'll call the vote.
The approval of the minutes carries unanimously on a recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councillors Van Tilburg, Samuel, Hunt, Carpenter, McCreary, Martin, Sluss, Caputo, Sullivan, Sicoli, and Mayor Davis.
All right, so we'll now deal with the committee reports. Councillor Sullivan, I believe you have the motion to put these separated items on the floor for discussion, which, as it turns out, there's only one item, 13.2.8. So if you could move and second that.
Yep, moved by myself, second by Councillor Scully, that all items in the committee reports, items 13.1 to 13.4, separated for discussion purposes, be approved.
All right, so before we deal with this item, this will not be a surprise to council members, but I want to make sure that members of the audience understand we have a number of procedural rules that detail how we're supposed to handle different matters. And depending how they come to council, there can be full debate, or sometimes the recommendation coming to us from the committee of the whole is that we defer an item for further consideration. And on this particular matter, the recommendation coming to us from the committee meeting was that this matter be deferred for a period of I believe it was 1 month, so that all the options can be properly considered and that further input can be obtained. And when we have an item to defer, our rules say that there's no debate other than the time and place unless the motion to defer is defeated. So with that, I just want to understand why it is we're not having a fulsome debate tonight. It comes later when we have more additional information, plus also having the benefit of hearing your emotional input and lived experience input tonight, very meaningful, that will carry forward when we deal with this in June, assuming this resolution passes. So with that, any discussion as to time and place? I believe the committee thought it would be 2 cycles and it was reduced to 1. So I'm not seeing any raised hands, and I'll call the vote on the motion to defer.
Item 13.2.8 carries unanimously on a recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council vote in favor. Councillors Sullivan, Sless, McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sicoli, and Mayor Davis.
Great. And again, thanks for coming out. So we have no urgent reports, no resolutions. We have one notice of motion. Councillor McCreary, if you could read the title of your notice of motion.
Mayor, thank you. I shall. Reads as follows: Brantford 150, the 2020 celebration of the 150th anniversary of the incorporation of Brantford.
All right, we'll move into bylaws, and just by way of explanation, people I think are used to seeing us having 3 readings of bylaws, the first and second and the third. And we did last month pass an amendment to our procedural bylaw that directs there only be 1 stage reading of bylaws. So you're not going to hear first, second, third reading, just 1 reading. And I believe, Councillor Samuel, you have the one and only motion we have on bylaws tonight. If you would please read that and state your seconder.
Thank you. Moved by myself and seconded by my ward mate, Councillor Van Tilburg, that all bylaws not separated for discussion purposes be approved. 50.25 to amend bylaw number 124/2024, being a bylaw to regulate the use of land and the location and use of building and structures in City of Brantford, 2025. 242 Planning Committee Report 2025 515. And 51/2025 bylaw to amend bylaw 144/88, being the bylaw to regulate parking in the City of Brantford. Notice of motion. Combined Committee of the Whole Report 2025-0513. And 52/2025 bylaw to amend the bylaw 144/188, being the same. Bylaw to regulate parking in the City of Brantford Public Works Policy 021, amendment of parking regulations. 53/2025 bylaw to amend bylaw 144/88, being the bylaw to regulate parking in the City of Brantford, accessible zones, Public Works Policy 021, amendment of parking regulations. 54/2025 bylaw to amend bylaw 3783, being a bylaw to regulate traffic in the City of Brantford, pedestrian crossovers, Public Works Policy 029, traffic regulations. 55/2025 bylaw to amend bylaw 3783, being a bylaw to regulate traffic in the City of Brantford, community safety zones, Public Works Policy 029, traffic regulations. 56, 2025 bylaw to amend 3783, being a bylaw to regulate traffic in the city of Brantford, speed regulation, public works policy 029, traffic regulations. 57, 2025 bylaw to amend bylaw 3783, bylaw to regulate traffic in the city of Brantford, fire route on private property, public works policy 029, traffic regulations. 58, 2025 bylaw to regulate the appointment of jurisdiction of screening of hearing officers within city of Brantford, 299, committee of the whole planning administration report, 1112. 59, 2025 bylaw to regulate the administrative penalty system governing the city of Brantford, 299, committee of the whole planning administration report, 1112. 60, 2025, to amend parking bylaw 14488, bylaw to regulate parking in the city of Brantford, 299, committee of the whole planning administration report, 1112. And 61, 2025 bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of the corporation of the city of Brantford with respect to the meeting held on May 27, 2025.
Does anybody want any of the bylaws separated for discussion purposes? Councillor McCreary.
Not separation, Mayor. I'd just like to comment on the change to a single reading.
That's not appropriate at this time. Does anybody want something separated for this? No. What would you like separated?
I will separate 50, 2025.
All right.
And I would just like to say
Well,
about
hang on, we're not dealing with it yet. Okay, so Councillor Caputo, do you want something separated? Okay, all right, so we're gonna have a vote then on all the bylaws that have not been separated. Then we'll deal with 50, 20, 25.
All bylaws not separated for discussion purposes carries unanimously on recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voted in favor as follows: Councillors Sullivan, Celeste, McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
All right, so we'll go on to bylaw 5025, which is a bylaw to regulate the use of lands and location of use of buildings and structures in the city of Brantford. Councillor McCreary, any relevant comment on that particular?
Mayor, yes, I'd just like to comment about 50, 2025, and as much as it's much like the other bylaws before us tonight, we are reading bylaws singly now. The prior practice of reading it numerous times at once spanned more than one
I'm
night.
calling you out of order. That does not relate to the subject matter bylaw 50, 2025. Previously, I ruled your attempt to do this out of order, and I'm continuing that ruling. So I invite you to make any comment that relates to the bylaw concerning land and locations of use of buildings and structures.
I believe I was.
Yep, you weren't. All right, so I'll call the Councillor Martin.
Yes, in regards to bylaw 50, 2025, a question through the staff. How long will it take for this bylaw to be finally passed?
About 40 seconds.
So through the chair to the counselor, it would be passed tonight.
I mean, third reading. Will it be 2 more months?
I would defer that to the clerk.
No, there's only one reading. It's one and final reading, which the municipal act permits if you have a bylaw to the effect. And that's what we did last month. And that's when this discussion was appropriate. So I'm going to call the vote on bylaw 50, 2025. No, I'm going to call the vote.
Bylaw 50, 2025 carries unanimously on recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor as follows: Councillors Sullivan, Celeste, McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
Okay, so as we're signing the bylaws, clerk and I, ward announcements, and I'll start with Councillor McCreary, ward announcements.
I'd just like to announce the change in the number of bylaw readings is meant to speed the process up, and for us in particular, we have a plethora of opportunities for public to comment on these things, which was one of the original reasons why we would read once, twice, or three times. So just so the public understands what we did tonight and how I definitely managed to stick handle around the mayor's legitimate objection to my earlier commentary. Thank you.
Right, Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing to address tonight.
Councillor Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. June 21st at 11 a.m., the West Brant Neighborhood Association is going to be presenting the first Park Fit. It's a celebration of movement. It's a local participation community challenge. So it's on a Saturday, so come on out. It's going to be lots of fun between 1 and 3.
Councillor Scholl.
I got nothing.
Councillor Caputo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So for the month of June, Brantford Station will be participating in participation for the entire month in getting the neighborhood up and active. They have a series of activities, pickup games, wellness walks, and a lot more. They've designated a theme for every day and hope to get as many people out as they possibly can. They also have book club, D&D nights, and went right into the summer planning activities such as their yard sale, Alice in Wonderland, themed picnic, movie night, and Chalk the Walk. Homedale Association also has this Thursday night at Christ the King Church, School, their fun fair from 5 till 8. They have pickleball starting starting June 11th, every Wednesday and Friday night from 6 o'clock till 9 p.m. at Dufferin Park. And they have their yard sale on Saturday, June the 14th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Councillor Sluss.
Sorry, nothing further to Councillor Caputo.
Councillor Van Tilburg. Councillor Samuel.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor. It's just a few things. So I wanted to mention that the East Ward Echo Place Neighborhood Association continues its Women's Book Club, and it's at a new location at the Stedman House at 99 Wayne Gretzky Parkway. And they also have, and for more information, you can check out their Facebook page for that. And they also have their first drum circle starting. It's the first Saturday in June, and that's happening at Woodman Park behind the greenhouses at 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock, and it runs from June till October. The Eagle Place Community Association is having their community yard sale on June 7th. It starts at 8 a.m. and they have a full map of all of the locations. I also just wanted to say a quick thank you to all of the hub neighborhoods that put on the Wheels on the Pavement event this past weekend. It was an incredible event, and it wouldn't have happened without all of the neighborhood associations, as well as appreciate the city's events team as well, and the Public Works team that brought all of their incredible vehicles out. And just to find out more about getting involved in your neighborhood association, you can do that by checking out brantford.ca/neighborhood associations. Thank you.
Councillor Hunt.
Thank you. This coming Saturday, June the 1st, is the Brandlin Neighborhood Association's Free Family Fun Day, starting at 9 a.m. at the Brandlin Community Center. And just carrying on with our theme for the awards. This is National Accessibility Week, breaking barriers together, paving the way for an inclusive future. And I wanted to do a special shout out to our staff and the communication staff, Maria, for putting together what I thought was a great award ceremony and recognizing some very worthy award recipients in our community that are breaking barriers together. Thank you.
Councillor Carpenter.
Yes, and saving the best for last, I'm very excited to announce the 41st annual Rotary Brantford Classic Run. It's happening this Sunday, June 1st, at the Ross McDonald School. The routes are the same as last year. We have a 3-kilometer walk or run, and a 5-kilometer walk or run, and a 10-kilometer walk or run. And I just wanted to highlight that over the past 40 runs, the Rotary Club of Brantford Classic Run has raised over $2 million benefiting local communities organized such as the Boys and Girls Club and Lansdowne Children's Center. So if you want to register, there's still time, 4 days left to register, and you can register at the rotaryclassic.ca or raceroster.com. And I have one more quick announcement to announce, and that's happy birthday to Councillor Michael Sullivan. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I have the mayor's report to make. Very briefly, I was at a conference in Milwaukee about 2 weeks ago. It was the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Basin Cities Initiative. It brought together 150 mayors and councilors from 150 different municipalities, right from Duluth, Minnesota, Thunder Bay, Ontario, right through to Montreal and the North Shore of Quebec, and mayors and city officials from Vermont. This organization was originally established because we all have the Great Lakes in common and the world's foremost water asset, and originally intended to promote the protection of and conservation of the Great Lakes water. But over the course of time, especially in the last year, has morphed into an organization that also advocates and lobbies for the free flow of goods and services between the two borders, because that particular area is the third largest economy in the world. And it encourages that we think about not just our own state, our own province, our own city, but the entire basin. A couple of useful information I obtained. Not surprisingly, a lot of municipalities on both sides of the border and the lakes are dealing with nitrates. The solutions range from what the city of Chicago does, which takes water from Lake Michigan, which there are very small levels of nitrates, and distributes that to 50 other municipalities. Many others are doing the same thing. We're looking at reverse osmosis, upstream protection. Because I attended the conference and hopefully we become a member, we'll be entitled to a staff report that's being prepared right now by one of the organization's researchers, which she has been studying for almost the last 4 to 5 months. Will be a very fulsome and complete report on nitrates and how municipalities are dealing with that issue. In respect to trade, there was a half morning stand dealing with trade and tariff issues. It was interesting hearing the American perspective, and there was a resolution that was passed advocating and lobbying on both sides of the border for the free flow of goods and services between the border. We also learned the importance of container shipping, and that there is no Canadian port that can deal with containers other than Montreal and Halifax. Nothing in the Great Lakes. There's container shipping out of Duluth, Minnesota, and Cleveland, Ohio. It becomes, and I realize that talking to certain local manufacturers, it's critical we have a container port in Ontario, and actually learned that Hamilton is making efforts to do that. And certainly we should encourage Hamilton's efforts to develop cargo shipping ability. We also had at the conference Aaron Provost. He's the Ontario Consul General stationed in Chicago, and he was advocating for municipalities on both sides of the border beginning and advancing a twinning or sister city program so we can better understand one another and develop stronger relationships. I'll tell you in a minute about that. There's an initiative to change the name of what, especially in the States, they call it the Rust Belt to the Blue Belt, given how important this is. Learned a lot about the state-of-the-art water management practices in American cities. Also had the time because Racine, Wisconsin is halfway between the Chicago airport and Milwaukee to visit the head offices of S.C. Johnson, which I thought was an important visit, given the challenges we had last year in keeping S.C. Johnson in our community and how hard both city officials and company officials worked to overcome the issues that were jeopardizing S.C. Johnson remaining in our city. I have to tell you, it was a great visit. I better understand the history and the culture of S.C. Johnson, and also how the succession program is rolling out in terms of the leadership of the organization passing from one generation to the next. There's several initiatives that I was able to discuss with head office officials that we're doing here in Brantford, such as the TB Costain improvement projects and others that could be considered in the future. But I think it was really important that we have a member of our city actually visit the head office at S.C. Johnson. I think it was the first time a mayor's ever done that, to really strengthen the relationship, and I think it's had that impact. We also intend to also enhance and strengthen the relationship between our city leadership, city council, and of course local management and local staff of our local S.C. Johnson plant. There also was an initiative, as I said, in respect to twinning. And at the conference, actually, by coincidence, the mayor of Racine was at that conference, and he and I had sat down for coffee. And you'll be hearing later of initiative. Racine's about a city of about 70,000 to twin Brantford to Racine, where the head office of S.C. Johnson is. So more to come on that. And generally speaking, well, the conference next year will be in Hamilton. I'd say this, what this organization is about, it's about reasserting shared friendships that exist between the northern US borders and provinces of Ontario and Quebec. It's advocating the fact that we share a stewardship of the largest single source of fresh water in the world, the Great Lakes. It also promotes prosperity and cross-border sharing of prosperity and trade. And also with the twinning, it also, and there's a lot of PR locally in Milwaukee about the conference. And actually one of the organizers told me what they're trying to do through that is counteract and respond to some of the messages that are coming out of the White House that, you know, Canadians are cheaters and Canadians take advantage of Americans and Canadians can't stand up for themselves, by sending out a really positive message how, in fact, economies and industry and cities on both sides of the Great Lakes, whether it's Superior, Michigan, Huron, Ontario, or Lake Erie, we share a common asset, and that working together, we can strengthen our relationships, both cultural, both environmental, and both in terms of business, and create a powerful lobby group that working through our members of parliament, our senators, our congressmen to overcome the negative messaging that comes out of Washington about the state of our relationship with the US. So it's a very useful organization. There'll be more coming to you in the next report from staff in respect to our tariff initiative that we began earlier this year, including, I believe, will probably be requests that we consider a twinning with the city of Racine. So with that, I'll call the May Council meeting to a close.